Good afternoon and welcome to the Gold, Ghosts, and Gun Short News. My name is Tom Luongo and we've got a lot to talk about. It's Tuesday, April 30th. I got about half an hour or so to chat with you all before I've got to go out and get some other stuff done for the rest of the day. So let's get started here in a couple of seconds doing that. Great. All right. Remember, this is going out over both YouTube and DLive at the same time. You can follow me over on DLive at dlive.tv/Tom Luongo if you want to be able to donate directly to the stream, seeing as I'm not going to monetize my YouTube channel and give them 30% of your donation. So if you want to do so, you can do so via other means. And we've got plenty of other ways of doing so. I'm also on the Brave browser as well. Now you can go ahead and sign up for that, and you can donate to the channel that way. So let's get started. Today I want to talk about Venezuela. We've got the ongoing stuff going on in Venezuela. I think it's very, very important, obviously. Let me make sure I got my notes set up here properly so we can actually do this and talk intelligently, and I don't go a little crazy while doing this. All right, so there they are. So let's talk about this. So we know that there's a coup going on, an attempted coup going on in Venezuela right now by U.S.-backed puppet Juan Guaido to oust Nicolas Maduro from power. At this point, I'm not sure whether or not it's going to be a failure or a success. It's not actually what I want to talk about today. But if any information comes out while we're doing this, please feel free to pop it in the chat and I will pass it along. It looks in the short term like it's been a failure. The key was the La Calada airport, the military base, the air base there, and that failed, from what I understand. So, right, we want the airbase. Standard Dev is telling me over on DLive. You're absolutely correct. It looks to me like it's going to fail. Without the airbase, there's no way that we can then bring in reinforcements to then try and take over Caracas and the rest of it. So it doesn't look like it's going to succeed, but that's not really what I want to talk to you about. I just finished writing an article for Strategic Culture, which should be out tomorrow. Editorial over there told me that that's most likely what's going to happen, because I'm talking about very similar to what I'm going to talk about this afternoon, which is I'm quite disturbed actually by what I'm seeing. And we saw that, and anybody who's been a member of this channel for a while knows that I've been worried about this for quite a while, which is the cult of personality surrounding Donald Trump, and how that has now been used to justify everything that we didn't vote for when we voted for Donald Trump in the first place. So if you follow Twitter at all today, you'll note, because I have been all day while doing this, what really got me started this morning, what got me to write the article that I just finished, was the pathetic, sad, and honestly disturbing justification by MAGA Pete of this operation. We voted for Trump because he said no more regime change, humble foreign policy, not going to take over the world, all of those things. Very well, we had it from George Bush, we had it from Barack Obama, we had it with Ron Paul. He actually fucking meant it. Whereas, and I honestly believe that Trump meant it as well. Everything we did not vote for, Trump is doing. And now the American conservative right, the dispensationalist, rapture waiting for dispensationalist right, is ready to fight any and all wars against socialism. If you scroll through Twitter today, just do this. Either scroll through Venezuela or Operation Liberty or whatever the hell the thing is called. If you scroll through any of those hashtags, you will see these sad and pathetic MAGAPedes who think that this is somehow a march for freedom, because that's what it's been sold to them. And the truth of the matter is that what this is a dark reflection of their own sense of powerlessness. They voted for Trump to MAGA, right? To make America great again. He's not making America great again. He's now out there like a used car salesman selling the same warmed over imperialist rhetoric that every other president previous to him has voted for, has implemented. They're all in there cheering it on like it's the greatest thing ever. I mean, we're seeing Braveheart, and I can't wait to vote for Trump in 2020. Freedom! America will never be a socialist country, so we're going to foment a coup against socialists in Venezuela. Got news for you. Everybody, every government in the world is socialist to one extent or another, including the United States. They don't understand this. They don't even have any sense of what they're actually fighting against. But these people are so powerless. They have felt so powerless for so long. They've watched for 2.5 years the Democrats run a fucking coup against their man who has now betrayed their entire president, the entire reason for the presidency in the first place. Remember back when Steve Bannon left the White House, he said the Trump presidency, as we voted for it, is over. He's fucking capitulated to all these people. And it's disgusting to watch this play out, but it's something that has been wholly predictable. Remember, why does this channel only have 2,500 people or 2,450 people following it and not 24,000 or 240,000? Because I've consistently called out MAGAPedes for being a bunch of fucking idiots, for blindly following Donald Trump and excusing his reprehensible behavior as president, for not sticking to what it is that we voted for as opposed to what we have to justify to ourselves because, you know, he's under a lot of pressure, man, and the Democrats are out to get him, so we have to rally around him. And it's all this classic in-group, out-group bias, Team A versus Team B bullshit that has been used. They have been used. They are now the useful idiots of the deep state, calling for a regime change operation in Venezuela in the same way that they're going to cheer on a regime change operation in Iran every time there's 40 people stand up in Iran and shout death to the government. The MAGA crowd goes, yo, it's coming. We're going to have it. It's like the cheer on the freaking rapture, for Christ's sake. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But it's actually not unbelievable. It's sad and pathetic. And those people no longer pollute this channel, thank God. I went out of my way to piss all of them off because I don't actually want to deal with them anymore. It's better to continue to do this and just continue to state over and over and over again how wrong this all is until eventually they will come back and they will go, I fucking hate to admit it, but you are wrong. You were right. I know I'm right about this. This is wrong. They are pathetic and powerless. And they know it. In their heart of hearts, they know Trump isn't working for them anymore. And all Trump is trying to do is hold on to his the hardcore Christian base because it's all he's got left. They don't understand what the real problem is. You've got the American left and the American right both completely radicalized. Russiagate did its job, folks. It was never about getting Trump out of office was never really the goal. The goal was always to ensure that Trump was neutered and that his base would rally around him so hard that they would walk through fire for him in the same way that the left would walk through fire to try and get rid of him, so that they all fight amongst themselves while the traffic splashes by and the empire remains. How many troops are in Afghanistan? How many troops are still in Syria? How many troops are still in Iraq? Now we have regime change operations in Venezuela. Eric Prince is out there this morning lobbying Trump to give him the money for 5,000 armed mercenaries to go oust Maduro. It's unbelievable how sad and pathetic these people are. They're so caught in their own ideological possession. They cannot separate. And look, it gets even worse than they can't separate what Trump is actually doing from what they want to believe he's doing. Because these people, many of them, including some of us here at one point, all of us at some point were willing to defend Trump well beyond including myself, well beyond the rationality. Because we voted for him. We don't want to believe it's gone. We don't want to believe that he's not working for us anymore. We don't want to believe that. We don't want to have to go back to our families or our coworkers or our friends who said, he's a fucking maniac. And go, yeah, you're right. He is. Because once you stake out that position, my country right or wrong, my president right or wrong, you have to go along with all of it. As opposed to saying, well, yeah, I like some of what he's doing over here, but I can't stand what he's doing over there. This absolutely outweighs that, and I'm not going to vote for him in 2020, and I'm certainly not going to, I'm going to call him out every time he does something dumb. So, Trump is running in 2020 on fighting socialism. Okay, he's fighting a boogeyman. He's fighting, at this point, Donald Trump is not running against Beto O'Rourke or Joe Biden or anybody else. He's running against Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, which is stupid because she's not on the ballot. So there's so many other things that I wrote about this morning. I didn't even write into all my notes. I just wanted to get all of this started this morning. This should tell you everything you need to know about what Venezuela is going to tell you everything you need to know about where America is going to go over the next 5 years, of what our politics are going to look like and what the Trump administration, the rest of this term and possibly his next term is going to look like. Right. Trump is running against Karl Marx, which is not what he needs to be running against. It's insane. And they're so fearful of these boogeymen that have been paraded in front of them that they, and worse, and this is the worst part. A lot of these people are very conscientious, very well-intended, and very generous people. They see what's happening in Venezuela and are horrified by it. No one's happy. No, I don't sit here and go, Maduro. Maduro's inept. Yeah, I'm rooting for Maduro. It's like having to root for Maduro in this. It makes me feel dirty. It makes me feel like I need to take a fucking shower. The guy's an incompetent bus driver, for fuck's sake. Has nothing to do with stating that Guaido should not be president and that we shouldn't be backing a coup with him. It does not mean that I like Nicolas Maduro. Maduro is inept. Chavez before him was inept. Both of them are abreactions against the United States continually meddling in Venezuelan affairs for the last 30 years. Radicalizing Venezuelans to the point of electing these morons. It's all, these things are all, none of these things exist in a vacuum. This is these simplistic narratives that the MAGA Pete's have to tell themselves in order to rock themselves to sleep at night while they justify to themselves horrific starvation of Venezuelan people through economic sanctions and blockades. And now they're saying, oh, right now it's time to rise up and overthrow your oppressors. To do what? To wind up with the exact same shit that you had before? It's not like we're going to turn Venezuela into Club Med or anything. We're just going to take all the freaking oil and extract it and leave them to die. As a matter of fact, what's going to happen to Guaido is he's going to walk in there, going to abrogate all the debt that Venezuela owes to Russia and China. That's the big one. And then he's going to turn around and have to immediately ask for $40 billion in IMF loans and ensure that Venezuela is never free. Ever. Thank you, Standard Dev. Just donated an ice cream to the swear jar. Appreciate it. All right. So it just goes, it goes well beyond any form of rationality. These people are paying, or are now paying their taxes willingly because Trump is in charge of the government. Because if this was Hillary Clinton, oh, God, no, Hillary can't do this. This is wrong. Hillary did this in Honduras. No one gave a shit. But Americans always have to feel like they're the good guys. This is how all of this has to be sold. We have to tell ourselves, we're the good guys, exporting democracy and decency around the world while we blow people up. I've seen a number of different reports from people like Moon of Alabama, Ian 56, and others that there aren't a large number of people following Maduro at this point. And that the whole thing is kind of contained to a few blocks around the La Calada air base. And if that's the case, and they can't take the air base, this thing dies in the next 12 to 16 hours. It's really quite sad. Democracy is a meme. Well, democracy is just the best form of government since everything else sucks. And that's not even actually true. Anarchy is the best form of government. Yeah. So at the end of the day, what does Trump get out of this? He gets something to run on for re-election. He gets to remember. Okay, a couple of things to talk about here. If Trump's in re-election mode, let's talk about how well he's doing in re-election. I saw something on Zero Hedge yesterday says that Wisconsin dairy farmers are declaring bankruptcy at a rate that we've never seen before. Now, if you remember back to when we argued, I talked about this a couple of years ago. I actually made the connection and made the argument between Russian sanctions on European dairy, forced all European dairy over to the United States, which dropped the prices of milk through the floor, right, under Obama. And Wisconsin dairy farmers were in such tragic states that they all voted for Trump in order to alleviate the situation. Well, I got news for you. Trump hasn't done anything to help them, and they're all going out of business even faster than they were under Obama because those conditions haven't changed because Trump has not lifted those sanctions. And Russia then, of course, hasn't lifted the dairy sanctions on the European Union. So French dairy and Irish dairy is all coming over here at unbelievably low prices, and milk prices are in the floor. And these guys, and Trump hasn't even followed through on any of his plans to help them in any way. And it's similar to what Modi's done in India. I was reading about that this morning, trying to get up to speed on what's happening with the Indian elections. So you've got that. So he's not going to win Wisconsin, by the way, which he almost won in 2016. There's another report put out by Dustin Raimondo right after going through the election results that where Trump won in very specific zip codes that he shouldn't have won in all of those Rust Belt swing states, all zip codes that had the highest percentage of kids killed in the military fighting in Afghanistan and Iraq and Syria. And that the anti-war vote in those counties changed the election and won him the election. That's a competing theory to my dairy argument, by the way. Both of which are probably true to a greater degree or another. Trump has just alienated both of them. Both of those constituencies, not going to vote for him. And if between now and November 2020, the world economy takes a fucking massive dump because Trump is looking to cut off all fucking trade with anybody who dares look at him sideways, because we're going to squeeze everybody in until the pips squeak, according to John Bolton. Because if people are resisting you, then you aren't beating them hard enough. Then, right, he almost won Minnesota. I misspoke. He did win Wisconsin. He almost won Minnesota for exactly the same reason. I'm sorry, Jonathan corrected me about Wisconsin. He did win Wisconsin. But these are the reasons why. Then he's alienating the very constituencies that actually won him the election. And he's not going to win him the election he's not going to win an election with the world economy taking a massive dump, unless, of course, he spends $2 trillion more than we're taking in. and just says, hey, look, we'll just get a GDP print of 5% by spending more money, by just spending $2 trillion we don't have. But if he does that, then interest rates are going to rise like you wouldn't believe, and then the whole fracking industry will explode. So Stan Minchow says, look, hey, this whole being the good guy thing is ingrained, and saving the world is ingrained into the American psyche via World War II, the big lie. Absolutely. And that generation has to die away to fix that. It's the kids of that generation that have to die away to fix that, because it's really the baby boomers who it's the whole Steven Spielberg thing about Saving Private Ryan is like the greatest movie ever made, which it's not. So. Well, morale hasn't improved, so more beatings. Exactly, Stan. I agree with you completely. Trump has lost the Ron Paul vote. He's probably doomed unless the Democrats run a neocon like Biden. I don't know, Dragon. I just think that so many of the Democrats are completely insane. But again, the voter fraud is going to be off the charts. The vote harvesting after the election is going to be off the charts. If you thought the 2018 was bad, it was wait. 2020 is going to be worse. Okay, and the minute there's we have any kind of reappearance of American political distress, the world markets are going to reflect that even more seriously. So the situation with Venezuela is insane, and it doesn't serve anybody's interest except the people who are backing it. And it's revealing, the title of this talk reveals the dark heart of populism. This is what happens when populism morphs. This is what honestly, this is what all the lefties were worried about back in 2016 when Trump was running. Oh, it's this dangerous populism, could easily turn into Nazism and everything else. No, let's not go there. But let's say it turns into a cult of personality around the guy because you guys won't accept the election results. That's more probable. You guys turning around and turning everything into, oh my God, any hint of nationalism whatsoever is incipient Nazism, creates the very abreaction that you're worried about. So the lefties are just as much to blame as everybody else because they fell for this fucking horse shit that was peddled by the deep state and everybody else trying to bind Trump down in the first place. It's not going to be mass voter fraud. It's going to be epic voter fraud. We'll never have seen voter fraud like this before. I could see Trump winning again in 2020. Going back to some other conversations, to remind about Dustin Raimondo, and honestly, this is sad for me. I haven't even checked in with him recently, but Dustin Raimondo is dying of lung cancer. He is one of the great politically analytic voices of our age, and it's sad to see him to see his voice being lost over time. It just has been. I mean, Raimondo is the man who helped me become the kind of political analyst I am today. I learned a tremendous amount from him. So to see him fail is painful. Down with Data says that Trump will have a Biden problem in those rust bucket areas. He's going to look like the sane Democrat, if not sane across parties. Yeah, maybe. Biden has his work cut out for him because the Democrats are not fundraising at the same rate that Trump is. Trump is trying to hold down all of this stuff and keep everything together between now and 2020, and then after that he'll pick up the pieces afterwards, which is typical. I still think that Trump is capable of winning against anybody in the Democrat that the Democrats are willing to put up against him, unless everything takes a massive dump between now and then. He has got to back off on what he's doing if he doesn't want the economy to sink him. Because if we have another full-blown financial crisis that makes it across, that starts in Europe and wends its way to the United States before November of 2020, Trump is going to get killed for it. Okay? It's just that simple. Tom is actually, Ryu Six says, I'm actually Xi Jinping with a fake beard and hat. Dude, I can't even fake Mandarin. At this point, left or right, the candidate has to bend the knee to the deep state. This is the end game. Well, yeah. It's all very much heartbreaking. All of it, especially with the situation with Raimondo and others. Down with Data reminds me that at least DeSantis has been good down here in Florida. I have been really impressed with DeSantis, far more than I expected to be. I actually voted for Adam Putnam in the primary because, well, you know, the goat milk vote. But other than that, I think DeSantis has been unbelievably good, far better than I expected. He's actually been the kind of governor that we expected from Trump as president. We haven't gotten anything close to that out of Trump. What we have is a Skeletor in the fucking Senate cheering on Marco Rubio. Why does it matter who the next president is? Because in some ways it's going to determine the rate of descent into madness. Is why. So Standard Dev is asking whether the Fed is going to do a 50 basis point cut or not. It's a little off topic, but maybe. It's very possible that they're going to have to, if they go 50 basis points, Katie bar the door. The whole situation is far worse than anybody wants to let on. They come out with, if they start with a 50 basis point cut after raising rates in December, yeah. I know Rick Scott is a neocon dirtbag. I've always known that. I hated him as governor, but you know, it was better than anything the Democrats were putting up. All right. Mehijo Andre, I'm glad you're here, but I'm about to stop. I got to go pick my daughter up. So at least it could be worse. At least you didn't send Romney. Yeah, no. What are my thoughts on the current stock market? The stock market is just beginning its rise at this point. To make it quick before I leave, the general thesis is here, and I do this every Monday night at 8 and every Friday night at 8:30, and catch Ken during the day, during the week. The general thesis over at my blog at tomluongo.me and also the Gold Goats and Guns newsletter is that we are in the midst of a massive dollar short squeeze that is going to take place over the course of the next year, 1 to 3 years, and that dollar short squeeze is going to also going to precipitate a sovereign debt crisis, which will see bond markets around the world pop because they are the big bubbles. Central banks and their bonds are the big bubbles, and those are the bubbles that need to pop. The stock markets are nowhere near bubble territory. So, all right, guys, this is what I've got for this afternoon. So if you like what you heard today, please give a like and subscribe down below. Could really, really appreciate it. You can donate to the stream by becoming a member of Brave, the Brave browser, and earn back tokens with which to donate to your friends and enemies as you so choose. You can also follow me here on YouTube as well as DLive. And hey, I mean, if you really want, you can go get yourself a Gold Goats and Guns shirt or coffee mug over at Cafe Press. Links are all down below, and all of that. So I don't know. I gotta go pick my daughter up. I've got wow, you just donated a diamond. Holy shit, dude! Thank you very much. So I got work to do this afternoon. You guys take care. We'll talk soon. Keep your stick on the ice.